In episode 5, Joe and Beck have gotten in a nice little routine where he makes her breakfast in the morning right before she goes off to school. Now, it usually is interrupted by the infighting next door, and even Beck says, "Can't you do something?" But Joe says, "I don't really like getting involved in people's business." So while that's what they do in the morning, at night Joe tags along and hangs out with her friends while they watch things like The Bachelor, and he hates it. But he's not the only one who hates it, because Peach also hates it. And since he's done this a few times, he notices that there's a cold war going on between Peach and Annika. And after making a snide remark to Annika, she mentions how it used to be fun because it used to be a girls' night until we started bringing our boyfriends. She also brings along the book that he stole, asking how much it would be worth. He examines it and says, first edition would be worth a lot. And she says, well, I better sell it before somebody steals it off of me. But he won't let go and says, a book like this, I would keep it forever if I could. So it's clear that the Cold War between Annika and Peach isn't the only Cold War going on. The next day, though, while he's working in the store, Annika comes in and says how the website for the store is terrible and that she can help. She has over 3 million followers on Instagram and usually gets paid to just promote things like sunglasses, but out of the kindness of her heart, she will do it for free. And after a little push from Ethan, Joe agrees that she can help out with the marketing of the store. So while she's walking around the store Instagramming, Joe is checking up on her Instagram and finds this very old picture of Annika and Peach from college, and this is pre-Peach getting a nose job, and it's not the most flattering photo of really either of them. But Joe pitches it to her as kind of a throwback photo, and she says, nah, Peach would kill me. And Joe says, do you ask for Peach's approval before posting every photo? And Annika thinks about it and says, you're right, I'll post it. So that night, even though Peach invites Beck to have a girls' night, she chooses to hang out with Joe, which is a good sign. But those plans are quickly dashed when Beck gets a phone call from Annika saying that there was an anonymous Instagram account that posted a video of Annika having a racist rant from college, and Annika is beside herself. So Beck rushes off to be with her friend, and Joe is left alone. And it's pretty clear to Joe who did this. It was Peach. I mean, it can't be a coincidence that Annika posts the embarrassing photo, and one of the comments is from this anonymous Instagram account that has the video. But Beck is so blind that she can't even see it. So Joe has made it up in his mind that Peach is dangerous and starts following her around. He even picks up jogging, which is completely out of shape, but he gets down her daily routine. Later on that day, though, when he's in Mooney's bookstore, and Beck also happens to be in there, Peach shows up. And Beck has some exciting news, because her professor is going to put her in touch with some literary agents. But Peach stalls for a little bit and says, actually, I was going to do that, because Peach is related to J.D. Salinger and has some connections. And there's one agent that she has in mind that she wants to introduce Beck to. So when Joe eventually comes down, Peach tells him, we need this place for tonight for a private party. And this private party is solely to introduce Beck to this famous literary agent. And unfortunately for Joe, he doesn't really have a choice. He has to go along with this party. But before the party, he heads home and he sees Paco reading on the step, but he immediately knows that the book that he's reading isn't the book that you would think it is by the cover. So after grabbing the book, he realizes that Paco is trying to investigate what's the punishment for a minor killing an adult, and in this case, it's Ron, his mom's boyfriend. Joe talks him out of it, says it's not worth it, and gives him the Count of Monte Cristo, which is a book about revenge. That night, though, is the big party, and after the introduction that Peach makes between Beck and the agent, Peach goes over and has a very uncomfortable conversation with Joe. She keeps making snide remarks, like when Joe brings up that he's taking up jogging, she says, yeah, the runner's high is better than sex, and it even lasts longer. So with Beck preoccupied with this agent, Joe ends up stealing Peach's purse and heading down to the basement to try to find dirt. Unfortunately for Joe, Peach isn't like Beck. She has her computer password protected, and he figures it's not even worth it trying to guess. But he does find her food diary, and in the food diary, there's an old picture of Beck used as a bookmark. And Beck looks alright in it, so Joe decides, well, no one's down here, and starts jerking off. And I can't make this up. I actually timed it. He lasted 8 seconds. That's not a coincidence. After a quick cleanup, he heads back upstairs and he overhears Peach talking to this agent. She says, when you reject her, just let her down easy. It's pretty clear she's not ready. The agent tells her, you know, if I were you, I would just tell your friend to drop the Master's in Fine Arts degree. It's a waste of money. She should probably just drop out. So this is further proof that Peach is a pretty shitty friend. The next day, Joe schedules a meeting with Annika to try to figure out Peach's password. And while Annika tells him Peach's dog's name from when she was a kid, the meeting is interrupted because Peach is in Joe's apartment looking for a stolen laptop. And when Joe heads over there, Peach is furious, just saying, come on, where is it? And Beck is over in the corner not knowing really what to do. Joe says, believe it or not, I can afford my own laptop. Have you tried Find My Computer? And when she does that, the computer is at Peach's house. The whole time Joe's thinking to himself, I'm not stupid enough to bring it here. So after Peach storms out without an apology, he gets pissed off at Beck for not sticking up for him. And she's playing it off like she's so focused on submitting these pages to that agent, but then he snaps and says, he doesn't care about you. He's not going to sign you. Peach is setting you up to fail. I overheard them talking. She said you're not ready. But Beck gets pissed off and she calls him an asshole and says, if you don't believe in me, that's fine, but you don't have to make up these slanderous lies. And then she storms out of the apartment. So after she leaves, he breaks into Peach's apartment and figures out that the password isn't her childhood pet, but is her nickname that she has for Beck, which is just creepy. And even creepier is the fact that on her computer, she has an entire folder of pictures of Beck. Joe's conclusion is that because she comes from an affluent family, she suppressed these feelings for Beck for years, and it's festered and morphed into an obsession. And because of this obsession, he doesn't think Peach is safe and needs to take care of it. And while he's figuring this all out, Beck is busy meeting with that agent, who it's pretty clear early on didn't actually read her stuff. He just glanced over it. And that meeting wasn't to sign her, it was to fuck her in the back of a limo. And Beck rejects him and his invitation to use drugs and gets out of the cab and demands to meet with Peach. And when she does, she lights into Peach, yelling, "You set me up. You told this guy I wasn't ready and all he wanted to do was have sex with me. You know what? It is exhausting being your friend, because God forbid anybody gets close to your spotlight, you bring them down. You know what? Joe was right about you." And then she walks off. Beck heads over to Joe's apartment and apologizes, saying that he was right, but the two are interrupted when she gets back-to-back phone calls from Peach and she can't ignore it. And when she answers, Peach is taking a bunch of pills and is apologizing. So Beck and Joe head over to her apartment to nurse her back to health. And when Beck goes off to get her some towels, Joe notices that she actually charted her suicide attempt, everything that she took. And while he's looking at the pages, Peach says, "You can't prove I did any of that." Beck returns shortly after that and starts taking her to bed, and Joe says, "You know what, if this is real, we should probably take her to a hospital." Well, Peach doesn't want to go to a hospital because she'd be admitted for a 72-hour hold, and she's also offended that he's even implying that this is fake. Peach then asks Beck if she can stay the night to make sure everything goes okay. And Joe's pissed off because this is a cry for help, but apparently this isn't the first suicide attempt that Peach has had. So at this point, Joe knows he has to take care of it. And while he's following her in her running route through Central Park, in broad daylight, he takes a rock and smashes her in the head, and nobody sees it. More impressively, he continues to run through the park and not pass a soul. I'm talking, he doesn't even pass a homeless guy. It's incredible. He's kind of shocked at what he was able to do, and when he gets home, he's greeted with a little bit of deja vu, because Paco has drugged Ron. And because of what Joe dealt with less than 24 hours ago, he knows what to do. So he tells Paco, go into the house and get some towels. And when Paco is in his apartment, Ron comes too and starts beating the shit out of Joe, and Joe knows this is karma coming back at him. While Joe is sitting on the ground all bloodied up, he gets a phone call from Beck saying, "Oh my God, Peach just got attacked. I'm heading to the hospital to see her right now because Peach hasn't died. She's survived the attack." Thank you for watching this recap. If you do not see the next one up in the corner right there on the end screen, don't worry, it'll be up shortly. Please consider following the channel. That'd be cool. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, and if you don't, there's a thumbs down button for a reason.